Welcome to Ask Mark. We thought we would get outside today and have a bit of fun, and we're talking anxiety, how to handle it, and what to do when your brain's not operating so well for you. Pan around. Pretty sweet little spot we've got here today. We're down in beautiful Sydney. We've been down doing a coaching workshop, actually sharpening up my own skills, which I'm really excited for. I'm going to be able to get clients the results they want, whether it's a relationship or another life goal, faster than really they ever thought possible, so I'm very excited for that. It was a brilliant workshop. But let's get into the questions that you want to know. Hit the subscribe button. I got my laptop out with me. And let's do this. So the first question, which I really liked, is from Victoria, and it was actually in the Facebook group. If you're not in there, you should be. Lots of great conversation, lots of great tips from the Facebook group. Victoria's question, she says, ladies, how do you cope when you have a wobble day? I'm really struggling this evening and I've run out of ideas on how to cheer myself up. This is actually something that I've gone through quite recently, and one of my clients went through. And working through this time when your brain is just not operating for you is a really important skill to have, because my client literally said exactly this. When your brain just has a down day, so you're working on yourself, you're doing brilliantly, and then you just have that day where this thing is just throwing you nothing that is helpful. When you have one of those days, it can really make you feel like you're back at square one. Literally, my client said this to me. She's like, I feel like I've gone right back to the beginning. And that's not the case at all. I know that, but that's how it feels when you're in this state. So it's really important you know how to handle these states and know what to do when you have a wobble day. So I always get my clients starting with the basics. So the basics are your meditation, which is understanding that you're not your mind and bringing that peace to your mind, and your gratitude, because it's hard to feel down and it's hard to feel like nothing is right in life when you've got a consistent air of gratitude to you. But you know what? It doesn't always work. And I've had times myself where I had a day at the vet probably 8 weeks ago where there was just no amount of gratitude or even meditation was helping me get out of that mood. So there's two more powerful strategies that I use with clients to basically help them get through these days where their mind it's like bad thinking has spread in one area and gone right throughout the other areas of your life, and there's almost nothing that seems to be contemplating well in there. The first is anchors. I won't go into fully explaining anchors in this video, but if you've ever done a lot of personal development stuff, if you have some sort of physical anchor, for me, my anchor, literally, that's my anchor. That movement with a lot of sound, and I set that anchor up by anchoring in a lot of positive memories where I'm confident, happy, laughing, excited. I put them all into that anchor. And instantly, just having done that, I can feel my energy is higher. So if you train your brain in these anchors, whatever that anchor is for you, it can be anything. If you can train to attach those times where you felt the most inspired and the most confident and the most happy to that anchor, that'll often be enough to break the low grumbling negative psychology. But sometimes you don't have an anchor, or sometimes even that's not enough. And that's kind of number 4, which is where you just know that for this day, you've literally got to not listen to what your mind tells you. It reminds me of the Stoicism principle of a cow eating out in the rain. So when a cow's out in the rain and there's nowhere to go and it's just munching away its grass, it just doesn't react to what the weather is giving it. And that's the metaphor I like to use when your mind, no matter what you seem to do, just is operating unhelpfully. There's been times where I've had to literally just say, mate, for the next 24 hours, Mark, do not listen to anything this says. It's like if you have a child who, no matter how much you try to calm them down, no matter what strategies you use, some days children just berate you and there's nothing you can do about it. That's exactly how I think. So if you can do this, if you can just understand, just say to yourself, for 24 hours, I'm clocking out from listening, taking seriously anything my brain says. Do that, get your sleep right. I don't care what it is, find a way to go to bed at 7 p.m. There'll be anything you feel needs to be done, doesn't have to be. Just find a way to get to bed at 7 p.m. Get your hydration, your food, then your exercise, get the basics right, and just stop listening to your mind. So with these strategies, particularly those last two, if the lighter stuff isn't working, these are all great ways to handle that wobble day when your mind is just bad thinking in one area has spread to bad thinking in all of them. You can act it, you can use that anchor, or you can literally just switch it off. Really good question. Thank you, Victoria. Remember, get in the Facebook group. There's lots of good questions just like it in there. Second question is from Rose, and this is from the anxiety video that you seemed to really enjoy last week or 2 weeks ago. Rose says, I'm going to be meeting up with someone I have been really talking to seriously, but I have anxiety myself and I'm afraid my anxiety levels will go through the roof and not be able to talk to him when we meet up, Mark. What should I do? Actually, Rose, this is a good one. This is pretty simple. The first thing I do, 3 things. The first thing is to figure out, how does meeting up with this guy help your anxiety? Right, now that sounds backwards, but if you can think of all the ways that meeting up with this guy is actually going to help your anxiety in the short term, but also in the long term, it's going to be enough to get you out there taking the action. Number 2, when you're out there and you're actually meeting him to help you handle the anxiety, figure out before you go 3 things that you want to know about him. Just go 3 things that I want to learn about this guy. Maybe I want to learn his values, I want to learn what his true passions are, and I really want to learn maybe what a fear of his is or an anxiousness of his is. Whatever it is. Just something to focus the conversation. And number 3, as per the previous video, make sure that after you've done it, you give yourself a massive pat on the back for doing it. Because as we said, most people who go and they push themselves into an anxiety, but then it doesn't always go well the first time, so they beat themselves up. And that's the worst pattern to get into. No matter how it goes, you want to get into the habit of rewarding yourself mentally every time you experience or put yourself in an anxiety driving situation. So before, during, after, 3 strategies that should really help you out, Rose. Next question is from Dee. Dee says, hi Mark, your video is so timely, thank you. This is also from the anxiety video. It says, please help me. I've been seeing a guy for 3 months who admittedly has high anxiety. However, he medicates it using alcohol. When inebriated, he always becomes a Grinch and picks fights with me and hurts me with his words. Last weekend, I packed my stuff and left without a conversation after he disrespected me. Sounds like exactly what you should have done, Rose. I didn't break up, but made it clear why I was leaving. I choose not to discuss it when he was drunk, good move, and I was too upset. He recognizes his drinking as a problem, but I see he feels defeated as to how to figure out a healthier, longer lasting or more lasting effective solution for his anxiety. I've fallen in love with him and really want us to work, but he needs to get help. How can I effectively help him? So the good news is, Dee, you're very self-aware with this one. You do know that he's an alcoholic and you do know that he's numbing using alcohol. Now, you can't save him. That's really important to remember, and a lot of women get in this rescuer mindset where they say, I'm going to save this guy from whatever ails him. And obviously that's not what you can do. You can support him 100% through any action steps that he takes, and you can make him such that he doesn't hate himself for what he has been. You can even say to him, like, you don't have to berate him for this. You can even say, look, the alcohol has kept you alive. It's helped you deal with this pain up to this point, so it's been important. But now, I know what I want in a relationship, and if you want to move on from that and put that aside and find a way to handle it, I'm here to support you. At the same time, you need to know this is a boundary of mine. And that's it. That's literally what you can do, and then it's up to him to take the actions. Good question, Dee. I hope it works for you. And we got one more. The last question is from Caroline. And Caroline says, excellent video. Thank you, Caroline. Could you also make a video on tips for the person dating someone who has anxiety? I've been in this situation and I wish I knew how to approach things better. All of the stresses that normally go along with dating someone new were tremendously exacerbated by his anxiety, and I didn't realize it at the time. I'm sure patience is important, but what other strategies or tips would you recommend? Thank you for all your helpful videos. Well, again, Caroline, it's important that you don't take responsibility for it. Because the easy pattern to get into here is where you say, oh, I'm doing this thing that's making him anxious. You can certainly consider it, and within your own bounds, you can go, okay, well, I'm going to expose him to this more slowly. But ultimately, you've got to live your life the way you want. And if his anxiety drives him away from that, then he needed to be filtered out. Otherwise, he'll go through that anxiety and you'll be there to support him through it. You'll show him that, and eventually he'll gain that confidence. So the big thing, the big struggle that women have with this is taking responsibility for how he's feeling and then really inhibiting themselves on things they want to do, they want to experience, and that's not what it's about. So the big thing is decide where your boundaries are and decide what you can move around to support him that you're not fazed by or too bothered by, to meet him in the middle with his anxiety, and then go forth with those actions. Great questions, great video. Thank you for joining me today. Hit the subscribe button with the bell if you enjoyed, and leave your comments and questions in the space below. As you always do, I can't wait to hear them. I've got another video coming out soon. I've got some exciting things for you in that one. In the meantime, hit the like button, and as I say, leave your comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next Ask Mark very soon.